Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Good evening. I am Simone Elbow, host of Level Up Live for Limitless Leaders. It's my pleasure to welcome you and welcome you to December. Happy new month. And let's finish the year strong, y'all. I mean, we got how many days now? My math is horrible. 29 days. 29 days to still make an impact. And an impact could simply be sitting down with yourself, making some plans for 2022. It doesn't have to be anything major. Just sit, take some action, and make sure that you are ready and focused to meet this new year. I am so happy this morning for this bonus start series, how the importance of leadership development. And we talked about in the series why leadership development is important. We talked also about the importance of and the role of succession planning and mentorship in leadership development. Had some really great conversation there and some great insights from you as I shared on those topics. This morning, I am so excited to welcome a friend and a colleague, Amad Rashad. I mean, it sounds like a superstar name already, right? Amad Rashad Thompson. He is a fellow corporate trainer, HR professional, John C. Maxwell certified trainer, and an international speaker. We are so happy to welcome him to Level Up Live today. Welcome, Amad.
Good morning, Queen. This is excellent. Anytime either one of us calls the other person is like, look, whatever I'm doing, wherever I'm at, count me in. I'm so happy to be included in this bonus session because it really is important. The things we're going to talk about this morning, and I've been following the series over the past couple of weeks, and it's important that people understand that so much of what they require, so much of what is required of them, starts with them. I think a lot of people look
Exactly.
outwardly, but anyway, we're not going to get into it just yet. Thank you, Simone, for inviting me on your series to be able to impart some level of knowledge to someone, and hopefully, what we talk about today can inspire someone. So, thank you so much for having me join.
Absolutely. And anywhere we are talking about development and leadership and human resource matters, we are in that same circle. And
Yes,
and
yes,
you're right, we just support each other. And I believe that's the way that we ought to be and demonstrate that we don't have to be competing with each other. We
no,
don't have to
no,
be battling with each other and trying
Mhm.
to pull people down or get into comparison and all that sort of thing.
Yes,
We are
yes,
all in our own lane, and let's just support each other, celebrate each other,
yes.
and make greater impact and greater strides. And
You
I
know, Queen,
believe
yeah, I agree with you. It's all about collaboration, right? It's about you and I, people coming together, doing what they do well and making it better together, right? So
exactly.
many people are doing the same thing and they feel that they have to, oh, well, if she's doing it, I can do it. And if he's doing it, I can do it. And I'm like, look, if you're doing it and I'm doing it, let's do it together. Let's make it make sense for everybody else involved. Let's change some lives. Let's change the world and collaborate. It's a better way.
Exactly. And I think I want to do something along the lines of um, how to collaborate really, because I've experienced some things that to me is not the spirit of true collaboration, and I have experienced some things that has been. So I
Yes.
think that again, when we talk about modeling behaviors, talking about these things, but also living it,
Hmm.
we can share on these experiences, because I find some people reach out just because they want to leverage off you, not that
Yes.
they want it to be a
Yes.
mutual
Yes.
collaboration. So that
Hmm.
look forward to that series
Absolutely.
as well,
Absolutely.
y'all.
Yes. Absolutely. It's necessary.
Yes, indeed. So, Ahmad, I want you to spend a minute or so talking about you and what you do, what you offer. Tell us about John C. Maxwell and all of that good stuff.
Yes. So, like Simone said, my name is Amad Thompson. If you know me, you know that my name means a lot to me. I believe that names are indicative of who we are as people. I think our parents sometimes can do us justice or injustice by giving us the right or wrong name. But I feel like I've been given the perfect name for who I am as a person. And who I am is I'm a person of value who values people and adds value to them. I really, really want to ensure that whatever I do is enabling you to become a better version of yourself. And I always say to people, that's my real purpose on earth. It's to help you become a better version of who you are. Every single one of you was created to do something special. No matter how popular the thing you're called to do is, there's no one else on this planet that can do it the way you have been called to do it. So, as CEO of Astute Talent Management, which is a talent management consulting firm that operates out of Nassau, Bahamas, my job is to come into organizations or help individuals become better versions of themselves. Leaders and organizations need to understand that what they do matters. How they do it also matters. And so my company comes in and we do any level of behavioral assessments. We do leadership development training, employee training, customer service training, any arm of training you need to have happen. Astute Talent Management can do it for you. I do behavioral analysis as well. And I can help you to source the right talent. I can help you to train that talent, to keep that talent, and to make people stronger, better, to go further, faster in your organizations. For individuals, I do the same thing on a smaller scale. So I offer professional leadership coaching. I offer executive coaching for people. I offer job readiness interview training. I do a lot of things to help individuals become, again, better versions of who they are. I take great pride in what I do. I love to do it, and I take it very seriously. And so, if you want someone to help you to live this limitless life that Simone talks about so often, call me at Astute Talent Management. Join me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I'm here to serve you and to make your world a better world.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amad. Listen, that was just flawless.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Wow,
much.
that was flawless. Listen, you got to learn how to pitch and get your business model and idea succinctly. That is a very
Yes,
important
yes,
skill to
yes,
have. When people ask you
absolutely.
on the fly, what do you do?
You
You have
can't
to
be
be able
fumbling.
to
You got to
tell
be ready.
them. Got to be ready
You got
because
to
you
be
never
ready.
know. They might be ready to sign that check.
Right
You
then and
know,
there. So let's
right
go.
there
Let's
and then.
go.
Let's do
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely.
So, Ahmad, what has been your experience with organizations and their response to learning and development? And if you were to rate that on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being no interest in learning and development, 10 being very open and supportive of training, where do you think we are in our organizations today?
Boy, Simone, this is a good question. I think a lot of companies still treat learning and development as a knee-jerk reaction to something that has happened in the organization. Or on the other side of that, it's something people do because they want to feel like it's the right thing to do. Like we should have a learning and development department, but we do nothing with it. Or okay, we have something happening in the organization. The world has changed. DEI is a whole big thing now. Let's get somebody to come in and teach us how to be diverse and inclusive, as opposed to actually understanding what development is and how important the investment in your talent in your organizations really is. I think on a scale of 1 to 10, interest level might be like a 7, 8. Honestly, people are interested in it, but they don't know how to carry it out, right? They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a consultant every now and again, but they don't have anyone that's invested in the organization's growth and development. And I think that's where a lot of people and companies go wrong. Some people hire a consultant, which is good, to come in and do a one-time thing, but I think those issues should be one-off issues. It shouldn't be that your relationship with learning and development is consultative. You should have someone like a general practitioner in your organization taking care of the needs of that organization as they arise, seeing them before they even arise and addressing them, ahead of time. So I think to answer those two questions, the first is I think people treat L&D as though it's like a side piece, if you will, if you're going to be very real. Like we call you when we need you, and then when we're done with you, all the best. But on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of interest, I think people are interested. They just don't know how to turn that interest into actual, you know, real life happenings, if you will.
Yeah, you raise a very important point, and it's been a pet peeve of mine. Even though, as a consultant, it's great to be called in to
Yes,
do
yes.
training and all of that. It's amazing, and it is a good supportive function. But you're absolutely right. An organization should have a learning and development strategy, and even if you don't have a full time person, which if you do, that would be awesome, as you mentioned, to address needs as they
Yes.
arise and to be more preventative as well.
Yes.
Because as we talked about in succession planning and in mentorship and preparing for leaders, preparing for critical roles to be filled, when you have ongoing training, you are now preparing people to assume different responsibilities, whether that
Yeah.
is leadership or not, whether
Or
it's
not. Yeah.
to just train and mentor in a particular role that may be difficult to fill or unique to your organization. And
Yes.
so my peeve is that we don't have strategy. We
Yes.
don't have a vision for learning and development. We don't have a long-term plan.
Mhm.
So what we end up doing, and when we bring consultants in, it is usually someone who's not a trainer.
Yes. This is someone who is maybe at best an eloquent speaker. There's someone that's going to maybe get you excited about a thing, but they have no direct impact on your actual goal, on your actual need, on your actual, even your suffering in the moment, right? I think I always challenge companies, I always ask them, first of all, what is your end goal? What are you trying to accomplish by bringing me into your organization? What is your learning and development plan, but also your learning and development desire? Have you, in any form or fashion, done a learning needs analysis? Have you said, like, look, okay, our challenge in this organization is A, B, and C? Or are you saying the people don't do their work? Please come and help them, like train them how to do their work, ma'am, sir. Help me to help you. What are we really trying to accomplish here? You talk about strategy, and I always tell people strategies are great, but unless you execute the plan attached to that strategy, nothing is going to happen. And so I can come in with all of my great bells and whistles, and I can make you feel good, and I can do all the 90-day plans. But what is your execution plan, right? Who do you have involved in your planning? Who do you have as stakeholders, key stakeholders in your organization who are going to drive whatever desire you have, turn it into a strategy, turn that strategy into a plan, and then execute that strategy, plan, and all of that good stuff. And I think a lot of organizations don't do any of that. They say, look, we're going to pay you the big bucks, come in, talk to the people, get them riled up, and then tomorrow they're going to change. I'm sorry to say to you all, it's never going to happen. It does not work that way. And until we take the approach to actually devise a strategy, execute a plan, and then also monitor results. What have you seen? What have you seen changed as a result of a strategy and plan that you put in place and then executed? What services have you seen improve? What behaviors have you seen diminish? Which employees have you seen now flourishing? What are you doing? You know what I mean? Another point I want to mention too on this point, Queen, is that I always tell people your learning and development strategy should be building your bench. It should be strengthening your bench players. A lot of people focus on those that are already in leadership positions, but we're not looking at persons who are on their way to leadership. And so when it's time to fill a key role, we're scrambling. We're like, who can we get? Who could we have to look outside of the country, outside of the organization? But if we had spent time strategizing and building that core, that really, really high potential employee, not the high performing, but the high potential employee who has the potential to take this role as it is now to the next level when they assume it. If we take that approach to get people to the next level of their best performance, we have less of a leadership crisis in our organizations. But right now, a lot of people are just doing what they need to do to get by, post a position. When they realize that if nobody's qualified in the organization, then we start to scratch our heads and say, "Oh boy, what are we gonna do?"
King, where is the collection plate? Where
Yes,
is the offering basket? I
yeah,
am ready to throw money at you.
yes, yes,
This
yes,
is this is the crux of the issue
yeah,
that we're having in our organizations. We have to, when we talk about being, I love what you said about not only having strategy, but also focusing on execution. We have to work
yes,
the plan. And we can't do that when we are not sitting at the table to discuss with the people who are responsible for this, to push this
yes,
forward,
yes,
which is
yes.
human resources primarily,
Mhm.
and to talk about and really have a heart for not only the people, but where you want your organization to
To
go.
go,
And
yes, yes,
understanding the role of people in making that happen. And it
yes,
doesn't happen overnight. It
no,
doesn't happen on the fly. It doesn't happen with motivation only.
yes,
It has to
like,
be, and And someone, I think this is Joyce who said it here, that consistency is key in training and development.
Yes, it
Absolutely
can't be a
right.
1 day thing. It can't be a great somebody came in for 3 days, spent a whole 3 days eating a bunch of pastries and having a bunch of coffee, and then it's like, what? Oh, nothing happened. Mom, what do you expect to have happened? You gave people a bunch of sugar, a bunch of coffee. They're excited, they're excitable, but they did nothing to. They also didn't see the value in what you did in this particular session that you held. I always tell people, I can make you feel good, but I want to understand how I can change your mind.
Mhm.
If
And your
leadership,
actions.
exactly, because as you think differently, you behave differently, right? And so if I can't come into a session and affect the way your mind works, even if it's just thinking differently about a concept or a construct, then I'm not coming to your organization. I can do motivation if you want motivation, but if you're saying you want training and development, that comes to me naturally as a part of my natural thing. But know that I want to understand your strategy. I want to understand your plan. Who have you talked to? Is this one person's idea, or is this a collective? We talked about that C word earlier, collaboration.
Mhm.
Who have you collaborated with to devise this strategy? Who have you tested this plan with? How are we going to execute it? What are our testing measures? What are we going to actually see change at the end of this particular session and or consultative relationship? And I think when people start to take that approach, a scientific but still artistic approach to learning and development,
Yeah.
then they will start to see some change. But until then, they're just going to be wasting their money.
Yes, so I love that. The book ends, right? So
Yes.
people look at the training session as the end all and the be all. That is only a part of the
Yes.
process.
Yes.
So I am so glad you brought up that aspect of, on the front end, we have to do the needs analysis. And how do
Yes.
we do that? As if you're an HR professional, if you have a training specialist that can do this, great. Otherwise, you need to act as that business partner, that internal consultant,
Yes.
and
Yes.
you need to canvas your organization. Talk to your leaders.
Hmm.
Talk about the skills that are needed, the skills that are present, and the skill gaps. This is
Yes.
how we
What is
determine
absent?
now, right? What do
Yes.
we need
Yes.
to train
What are
on?
we what are we missing that's not helping us to get to our next level? And I always tell people too, HR professionals, L&D professionals, organizational development strategists, whatever you want to call, whatever space you fill in that realm, you have to understand and know the business that you're supporting.
Mhm.
It makes no sense to do training on a thing that has no relevance to your organization, right? It makes no sense to have a session every day or every week that has no impact on the growth of your business. Because as you grow the people, their growth should impact the growth of your organization. But unless you know the business you are in and what drives that business, you can't drive the initiatives that are that are going to help your organization to grow. A lot of people in HR feel like, well, my job is just to hire the talent and fire the talent.
Yeah, I
Mom,
say hire, fire, and inspire.
there you go. There you go. Fire me on Monday, fire me on Friday, and inspire me on Wednesday. Look,
Yes.
that ain't gonna work. That is not gonna work. People want, first of all, people want to grow. People want to learn. They want to know that they can be invested in and then take that investment and give it back to you. That's the first thing. The second thing is if you feel like your job is just to sit in an office and monitor vacation reports and track your training records, my friend, you are in the wrong business and you are going to fail. I want you to know now. You need to be on the ground, understanding your people, seeing what they go through every day to do their work. So when you create a training plan, again, you're not having a session first thing on a Thursday morning when it's a busy in your organization. Nobody come in, you feel like you're not being effective. If you know what business you're in, you know when to do training.
Ah, come on and preach,
You
sir.
know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people just take this thing as okay, we live in the Bahamas, right, Queen? And we live in a nation where status means a lot. And your title means even more than that. And you can be making $1.25, but if you name senior director of something, you reach. And a lot of people feel like the title is all that matters. You could call me whatever you want to call me. It don't matter to me. All I want to know is how are we impacting lives? What are we doing to monitor the strategy? Because this person, Rain, says monitoring is key. It absolutely is. How are you defining your growth? How are you measuring that growth? I think a lot of people get caught up in the goal and not the growth. Focusing on the goal, you're going to get lost. You're going to get frustrated because it's not happening fast enough. It didn't happen overnight, like you mentioned earlier. But if you can see steady growth in the learning initiatives that you've put on, you're making progress. You can see where
Exactly.
you once were, where you are now, and how much further you have to go. But a lot of
Exactly.
people focus on, Ahmad, this isn't happening, nothing changed. The people still doing what they normally do. Well, mom, you still doing what you normally do. What you want me
And
to
the
do?
monitoring isn't just measuring before and
And
after the
after,
training, but it's also in the reinforcing of the training.
yes,
Haven't
yes,
you heard so many times with people that you've trained when they go back to their organizations, they don't allow me to apply the new concepts.
yes,
Nobody
yes.
asks them what they learned.
What they
Nobody
learned
says, come and do a presentation at our next
on what
morning meeting
exactly,
on what you
exactly.
did, share the knowledge,
Yes,
apply the knowledge. It is about the application. So
yes,
if
yes,
you go back to your job and you're not even able to bring in something new,
yeah,
how do you expect anyone to change? Of course, they're going
exactly.
to revert to what you want them to do. If you're not
Yes,
going to hold them accountable to the new information, if you're not going to help them in their learning journey to continue to coach them through, because one session or doing a course or a certification does not make you an
is not
expert.
enough. Exactly,
It is consistent
exactly right.
effort over time that gets you to mastery. So you
Mhm.
can't just expect to just, oh, send them there. And then this, it takes some miracle pill and they're different. Development does not happen that
Overnight,
way.
yes, yes, yes.
And so if you had $1 for every time you would have heard, my manager, my leader should have been in this session. Are y'all doing this for managers and leaders? We would
Listen,
be millionaires by now, right?
we would be able to do anything we wanted to do. We could have fly each other back and forth. We could have do anything.
Lunch
Simone, let me
in
tell you
Paris
something.
today, King.
Right now, meet me in Paris at 2 o'clock. Me and you all day. We just chilling. Queen,
Listen,
listen to me. I
oh,
tell organizations all the time, I am not putting a session on for your customer service team if their manager or leader is not in the session. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it because people believe leaders are already, they have everything they need. Mom, we need it more than you. You need it more than your team members because your team members are on the ground knowing and experiencing what is going on in the organization. You're sitting in some soapbox somewhere, unaware of what's going on. You need to be in the session, and I challenge leaders all the time. I am not doing this, and I want it to be a mixed session. Yes, sometimes it's required to have a leadership segment separate from your team members. But there are also moments when you should be in the same space, in the same room, to understand one another's perspective. That perspective is key, and that support is key. When your team sees their leader in the same session as them, they're like, "Oh, Mr. Johnson in here with me? This is a big deal." And they get to understand each other's perspective on how this actually transpires, how it takes people to the next level. And I think when people separate learning from leadership, that's where the thing happens. That's where it all goes south.
yes. Look at this. Oh, my goodness. This was like a punch in the gut. The national culture of the Bahamas is a psychic prison. My God. Oh,
Ooh, mercy.
shit.
My Lord.
I felt that. I felt that.
My Lord.
Now
In
we
my
have a
whole soul.
question. And I see no lies detected.
Yes, yes.
So here's a question. Do you believe that an organization should create a role for monitoring change and consistency, or is that the CEO's role? That's a great question because
It
organizations take different approaches to this.
is.
So
Mhm.
it could be HR, it could be organization development. I've seen it called process improvement.
Yes, yes,
You can
yes.
have like a quality assurance person. Like what has been your thoughts and experience with that, King?
So this Rain raises a good point. I think sometimes when you leave it to the L&D specialist or the L&D person in an organization or the HR lead or even the CEO, it gets too it becomes too subjective. And so the person puts their vision in the monitoring. This isn't going to the way I wanted it to go, as opposed to we collaboratively set a goal, we collectively set a goal, we collectively settled a strategy and executed that strategy. Where are we seeing that change? Where are we seeing that consistent growth? And I think if you have that QA person, if you have that data specialist, even who is monitoring things that come in, if you have like a feedback option in your organization where customers give you feedback, employees give you feedback often, and you can see growth in the feedback. If you can see things like scores going up, net promoter scores increasing, right? If you have someone separate from the CEO taking control of that process, I think that will bode well for an organization. The CEO is the CEO for a reason. He or she needs to be leading the organization, creating new strategies to drive this organization to the next level. They should not be bogged down with how are we progressing on so and so. They should be updated, they should be kept abreast, but they should not be the one heavily involved. Now, a CEO's style might be heavily involved, to be heavily involved, but they should not be assigned to the heavily involved role, if that makes sense. So to
Yes.
answer Ray's question, I believe that organizations should have a separate role to see how we are doing, how we're faring with regard to our learning initiatives, and how we're tracking in certain areas. I think separating them literally gives a level of objectivity, but also unbiased.
Yes.
Because if I'm
Agreed.
putting on the program, oh, mom, it went very well. Everybody loved it. They talked about how much they're going to change their organization and how much they're going to drive. But that's what I want to tell you. I really what happened.
And that's what happens. And this is why I agree with you completely wholeheartedly. And really support when CEOs can get out of their offices,
Get out
walk
the way. Get
around
out the
and
way.
do their own monitoring in their own way,
Yes.
not to be
Yes.
responsible entirely. I agree to just get reports. But sometimes those reports, sometimes you got to watch them reports because people, like you say,
Yes.
only want to
Yes.
look good. You got to get there
Exactly.
and figure out,
I
what's
encourage
your
every time
finger
I
on
do
the
a
pulse.
session.
Hmm.
Yes, yes, 100%, 100%. Every time I do a session, I there's a feedback portion. You have to tell me how this went. What has changed your mind in this session? That those results are anonymous. They are always shared with any leader, and the leader I charge the leader to go and talk to your employees. Talk to them. How did this session go today? What can you teach me from what you learned today? What are you going to apply right now? Because you said it earlier, Queen. It's not knowledge that is power, it's the application of knowledge that is power.
Hmm.
Because I can know what to do and still not do it.
Bing.
But when I
Let me kind of
apply
lose
what I have
weight.
learned, gee, don't talk it. Because read every book, buy
Listen,
all the drink with a smoothie, bring the 50
listen.
different gym, and oh Jesus, ain't a happening. Mm. We
Okay.
don't talk it. We ain't getting in this one. We're not gonna go into this one, please. Let's stay focused.
Oh gosh.
Oh
So
goodness.
here is the $1 million question. Who is responsible for investing in learning? Employer or employee? Who's
So this is one of
responsible?
my favorite things to talk about because I am one of those people that believes that you should fish for yourself. If you
Mhm.
teach me to fish, I can now prepare a meal for my family, for me, for the rest of my life. People become too dependent on organizations to develop them. Now, this is a double-edged sword, or it's a two-sided coin, let's say, right? Because as a person, I am responsible for whatever I want to see accomplished in my personal and professional life. But organizations need to present themselves as the employer of choice by way of developing their employees, by developing and stretching and shaping the talent they want to see in the organization. I believe, however, that what you want for yourself, you should work to get for yourself. I do also believe that, so I say this thing, Queen, I say that learning starts at home and ends abroad, right?
Yep.
It starts with you. You determine where you want to go, how you want to get there, how you want to learn, what you need to be learning to grow yourself, and you start to invest in that learning on your own. But when employees are looking for organizations to call an employer to call home for a certain period of time, they are looking at what steps you take to offer growth and development opportunities. And it's not just what you say in the interview process. It's not just what you have on your website. It's what you're actually doing for the growth and development of your organization. If you can't quantify what you have done over the past 12 months, 24 months, 18 months for the growth of your employees, my friend, you are not doing any justice to your organization.
Hmm.
You are going to put spoke in your own wheel, Grammy say.
Yes.
And you're wondering why your employees aren't getting any better because they don't see the investment. They
Hmm.
don't see you putting into them anything more than just whatever their take home pay is. And
Hmm.
so for me, it's a two-sided coin. Leadership development, learning and development, organizational development starts with you. It starts with you taking the investment into yourself, but organizations they must take time. They have to have a strategy, a plan, an execution of getting their people stronger by way of learning and development initiatives. It's necessary. Organizations only go as far as their employees can grow.
Come on now, say it again.
Okay? Organizations can only go as far as their employees can grow. And so if there's no growth opportunity for me, you can't go further. If I grow on my own, I am probably going to go on my own as well.
But listen, I have a mantra, personal mantra, go
Yes.
to grow. Sometimes you
Yes.
have to.
You have to leave.
Sometimes you have to because you max out in organizations. And what organizational leaders need to understand today is that employees want to grow.
They
They
want it.
want
They
to
want
grow.
it.
They come into the organization, they're actually coming into the interview
What are you
with the
doing for growth and
mindset of
development of your
how am I
employees?
going to grow in this
In 5 years,
organization?
where
What
can
is
I
my
be in this
future?
organization? Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And you can't look at that as, oh, those millennials, they always want
They're before
something,
they look at,
this and
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
No, no, no.
No, ma'am.
You're going to
No,
lose
ma'am. No,
out.
sir.
You can't say and give lip service to, I want to find this top talent when you're not doing anything to nurture the talent, to
Yes.
grow the
Yes.
talent, to retain the talent. This is what
Yes.
people want.
I always encourage my clients, my individual clients, when you're going on a job interview, ask three very important questions. The first is, what is your relationship with making mistakes at work? How do you all treat people who make mistakes often or seldom in the workplace? That's the first question. The second question is, what is your relationship with growth? Why is this job vacant? Is it because somebody got promoted? Is it because somebody moved on because they couldn't grow? Is it because you just created the role and it's a brand new thing that your company continues to evolve every time, every so often? Is it because people keep quitting the job? Why is this job vacant? And the third question is, what do you expect of my growth in this organization over the next 12 months? And that question can seem like, well, miss, you just come for the interview. What do you think this is? You better calm down.
That I've seen that reaction.
Because the job, you can't hire her because she thinks she come and take my job and
Mhm.
anybody into that. No,
She
but I
come and she
encourage
took it.
she want to take over. I encourage people to ask questions like that so they can understand, you know what? It sounds like they want you to be in this job for 79,000 years. This is the place for you to be.
Hmm. And look, this is what ends up happening. You train them to leave. And you know what? I found some organizational leaders that actually believe this.
Yeah.
But if we train them, as we say in the Bahamas, they say you fattening frog for snake. You're training them for them to go and benefit some other organization. You can't
Listen,
look at learning and development
that
in
way
that
you can't.
way.
You
You
can't.
can't. And in actual fact, reframe that thought, because even if they do leave, you are still bettering the landscape of work in your
Yes. Yes.
country.
Yes.
Consider it community service.
Yes.
Something. Come
Listen,
on,
I tell
because
people all the time two things. The first is if I train someone and they leave my organization, I am comfortable that this person is going to change the nation. They're going to change the next company. They get an opportunity to grow in. That's the first thing. The
yes,
second thing, as I've trained a group of people, as I have shifted and impacted organizational growth, when someone leaves for better or for more, there is somebody else that is going to come in from the same organization to get better and to get more as well. The growth in the organization is it's almost like a cycle. If people see opportunities to grow, they're going to do more to grow,
yep,
right? If
yep,
people see that, you know what, oh, I better take this job seriously because they really want to see employees here grow further, get faster, grow and go further faster, right? But when we treat it like, oh, child, I put no money to these employees because they only still leave you after 2 months.
yes,
Mom, if the organization is turning people over so often, it may not be your training initiative, it might be your culture. It might be you as a leader. It might be the dynamic that you create in the way of an employee experience, but you cannot hold people back because you feel they're going to leave your organization once you train them. You are now building a nation. I always tell people, Simone, I am a nation and I'm a nation builder and a world changer. And so anybody that I have an relationship with, an interaction with, I expect that their mind has been changed and they're not going to change the world that they live in.
that's right.
And if we each do that, if organizations do that one employee at a time, we change the world together. We create a
Absolutely,
world, a workforce that's going to be, that's really a force to reckon with, to be reckoned with. You know what I mean?
absolutely, absolutely. So as we conclude this hot conversation, Lord, I
Yes,
can see
yes,
us
yes,
going to
yes.
an hour and we supposed to
Listen,
be 30
listen.
minutes. Oh, anyway, this won't be your last time coming. We have to continue talking about these things. But what
Yes.
are some critical skills that leaders, particularly, should invest in, should be mastering as leaders not necessarily in their organizations, because of course that is unique to
Yeah,
their
yeah.
organization. But as a leader, what are some of the skills that they should be investing in that for themselves and
Yes.
mastering?
Simone, I am of the opinion that leadership is comprised of three words, and they all begin with the letter I. I did a talk a few weeks ago at UB where I talked about the fact that, of course, there's an I in leadership. And those three I's are influence, innovation, and impact.
Yep.
Simone, you cannot lead anyone anywhere without influence over them. Now, influence is not to be confused with intimidation. Okay? They are not the same thing. Intimidation is a scare tactic, it's a coward's response to leadership. Influence is when you say to when you can say something to someone and they think twice before they move next. Like, you know what? Simone raises a good point. I did not see it that way. Didn't have that perspective before she and I spoke. Influence is also not to be confused with doing it my way or the highway. That's not the same thing. Influence is getting people to understand a different way, an alternative way of doing a particular thing, right? And you can't have influence unless you are building it and investing in it. You have to first build relationship. People respond to you, They don't I don't come on the Samoan series because of the topic. You could be talking about cryptocurrency or how to build a house. I don't care. Because Queen calls me, I show up. That's influence, right? The best example of influence that I know of is Jesus Christ. And I always talk about the story when Jesus is on the boat and taking that boat on the sea, talking about go fish, casting net on the next side of the sea, right? What was Queen? It was a Simon them, right? It
Peter,
was Simon
it
them.
was
Peter
Peter,
boat. It was
yeah.
Peter boat.
They take him
And
that
Jesus
boat.
gone on the man boat and
Classic.
say, "Come, Peter, we going out in the deep." Peter say, "But y'all let us wait. We know what we doing. We are fishermen. We are fishermen. We is going in the nighttime. We is going in the shallow, and we know how to catch fish. This man never been on a boat to catch a fish before in his life. But something in them said, hold on, you know what?
You know what he's saying.
We better
Something
go.
about
He
him,
had a
yeah.
quiet but very, very prominent influence. The next thing is innovation. You cannot do what you've always done and expect to go where you've never been. Okay? You
Hmm.
cannot. And innovative leaders are leaders that are looking at themselves as not obsolete, but how do I become better and stronger than I was yesterday? How do I take this process right now and make it more efficient? Innovation is doing the same thing that everybody else is doing in a way that nobody else is doing it.
Yes. Love it.
You know what I
That's
mean?
it. That's
And
it.
that's how you determine, okay, I am not getting the response I want to get from my team. What approach should I take now? Or this approach seems to be working. How can I amplify or make this process more efficient?
Yep.
Right? Innovation is not doing the same thing that you've always done, expecting a different result. That is insanity.
Hmm.
Innovation is doing the thing that everybody else is doing in a way that nobody else is doing it. And when
Yes.
you are innovative, you do things that are cutting edge, that are right now, that are relevant, that take your team to the next level. The last one is impact. And this, I think, is the most important one because, Queen, everybody has impact. Every one of us has an impact. Whether that impact is positive or negative is dependent on you as a leader. You can't do anything unless you are having an impact on your team. You have to determine what impact you want to have on anybody you interact with on a daily basis. And when you have team members that are leaving your presence saying to you, I tired of this man, this woman ain't making no sense. He or she ain't it. These things are the things that people will tell you by their facial expression, by their how well they show up to a meeting, if they show up on time. All of these things help people to understand your impact. I always tell leaders, what do you want to accomplish when you're done speaking to your team? When you're done engaging your team members, what do you want them to leave with? What feeling, what thoughts, what emotions, what behaviors do you want to see change? That's how you determine your impact, right? And unless you are working building influence through building relationships, unless you're becoming an innovative leader, someone that's doing the same thing everybody else is doing in a way nobody else is doing it, unless you are changing the minds of the people you lead through having an impact on their lives, you are not effective as a leader. People will walk away from you as opposed to walking along with you. Impact is legacy. That is so true. And I think as a wrap up, Simone, I always want to ask people the question. Today you have 86,400 seconds to live. If the last 86,400 seconds you had were your last 86,400 seconds as a leader, what would your legacy be?
My.
Every day you get a chance to do it differently. You have the opportunity to define your legacy every single day. Build your influence, be innovative with everything you do, and think about the impact you want to have on your team members. And I promise you, your journey to leadership is going to be shorter. It's going to go further. It's going to go further faster. And your people are going to stay with you because they believe in what you are preaching. And on the last thing I want to say, be around people that are smarter than you, please. Do not be the smartest person in the room.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the smartest person in the room, it's time to leave. And
Yep.
I'll stop there.
Listen. Rain says, part 2.
Yes, yes.
I am all for it. I am all
Yes,
for
absolutely,
it.
absolutely.
King, Ahmad, you notice we call each other king and queen, right?
Yes.
That's how we feel about each other. But this has been so good, so rich, no joke. We have to do a part 2. Dale, supporter there in Jamaica,
Yes,
by way of Trinidad and Tobago.
yes.
Thank you so much for your support.
I call the QOC. She's the queen of conferences. Yes, Dale.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate you.
Yes, I love this. Every day you have the opportunity to do better and to be better.
Yes,
That is
yes. It's
so
a choice.
true.
It's a choice you make to do it differently, to do it better than you did it yesterday. It's a choice.
Absolutely. And we're so grateful to have all of you joining us this morning and all of your comments and engagement. Thank you, LinkedIn. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, YouTube. Unfortunately, this platform that I'm using doesn't allow me to pull all the comments from all the platforms. So I had a friend tell me the other day, you don't show us any love. You don't put our comments on Facebook up. So I apologize, Facebook.
Yes.
Back afterward to see what you all are saying over there and to respond to you. So thank you again for tuning in on all of these platforms. Thank you to LinkedIn for giving me the opportunity to broadcast live. I really appreciate it. And I'm so excited about where LinkedIn is going and what they're doing to support content creators like us. And so again, thank you, King Ahmad. Astute talent management. Listen to me.
Yes.
You want to get in there and not only fire up your employees, but to look at lasting, sustainable change.
Yes.
Give
change the trajectory of your employee experience. You can get employees to do anything with you and for you if you show them what you're willing to do for them first. Employees need to feel like they are going to be valued by the value you give them. We must start talking again, Simone, because that's a whole other question. I am so grateful to you. You know, whenever you call, I am there. If I am not on the planet Earth, I'm coming back to get to do what we have to do, because these conversations matter. People need to understand that learning starts at home and ends abroad, but organizations must. They must lead the charge in getting their people to get better, to get stronger, and to build leaders in the organizations that they serve as leaders. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I am grateful to you. As always, Queen, keep changing this world. People, live your limitless life.
Yeah.
Live your limitless life on purpose, for purpose. Thank you so much, Queen. God bless you. I appreciate you always. God bless you.
Always. Yes, thank you so much, everyone. Have an amazing day or whatever time of day you are watching this in the replay. And remember to take away applied knowledge.
Knowledge is power. Yes.
Having it is great. Applying it is also wisdom.
Absolutely. There you go.
You want to shift your life. Your life by not only taking this in, but now take some time to reflect. You know, I normally do a coaching challenge at the end of every show. Take some time to reflect on what has resonated with you today, whatever was said today that has stuck with you, and come up with how you can apply this to your life or to your organization today. Absolutely right. Tomorrow is not promised. Tomorrow has its own cares and challenges and triumphs and everything else. What can you do today? I'm an advocate of, listen, don't wait till January 1st. There is nothing magical about January 1st. Y'all let me say that all the time. Because we have to break that mindset. We're always waiting for the new thing. Okay, so it's now December. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? You're gonna
Yes.
wait now. Okay, well, I'll wait until Monday. What you wait till
Yes.
Monday
Yes.
for?
Yes. Monday just
Nothing is
gone.
gonna be
It
different
was
about
just Monday.
Monday.
And another couple of days could be another Monday.
It
What's
could
the
be
point?
another
Get to it.
Monday.
Start doing it now. Right
Do
now.
it today, people. Do
Be
it
intentional
today.
about your growth and your development. It's your business. It's your
Exactly.
business to grow you to get better than you were yesterday. And it only starts with doing it today.
Absolutely right. Thank you, everyone. Amad, Rashad Thompson, Samo Elbow, signing
Yes.
out, but hoping to see you again very,
Yes.
very soon.
Yes. Yes.
Blessings.
Take care, everyone.